Joe Biden went out to the Lincoln Memorial the night of the inauguration with his family, and he took a bunch of photos. Well, one reporter in the press gallery had a question for the brand new press secretary. What's her name? Psaki or Pisak? I don't know what her name is. But he had a question for the new press secretary, and she wasn't ready for it. Listen carefully.
Why weren't President Biden and all members of the Biden family masked at all times on federal lands last night if he signed an executive order that mandates masks on federal lands at all times?
All right. Seems like a legitimate question. Joe Biden, hours earlier, signs an executive order saying masks are required on all federal property at all times. Then Joe Biden, literally an hour later, goes out to federal property without a mask on. And this reporter asks the press secretary, why is it if, you're supposed to wear a mask on federal property at all times, why is he not wearing a mask on federal property? And she, I believe, is totally taken aback by this question.
I think, Steve, he was celebrating an evening of a historic day in our country. And
Steve, I think he was celebrating. It's a historic day in our country. So that's the real rule. The rule isn't you need a mask on federal property at all times. The rule now becomes you need a mask on federal property at all times unless you're celebrating. So if you want to go to the Lincoln Memorial and not wear a mask, just, wear a button that says, it's my birthday, or, celebrating my anniversary or whatever. And then if somebody comes up and says, excuse me, sir, madam, you have to put on a mask, and there's an executive order from President Biden, you can say, no, it's okay. We're celebrating. We're celebrating. It's a historic day in our country's history. It's Friday. Yay, it's Friday. Got to get down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend, so we're taking off our masks. So then she says, look, we know that masks are important.
Certainly he signed the mask mandate because it's a way to send a message to the American public about the importance of wearing masks, how it can save tens of thousands of lives.
Okay, so so she goes back and she says, look, he signed this mask mandate because he understands how important it is to wear masks. Wearing masks can save tens of thousands of lives, which, again, just makes it even worse that he went out to celebrate at the Lincoln Memorial without a mask. And he took pictures with his family and everyone else. And, there were Secret Service there and yada, yada, yada. So this guy, Steve, asks a follow-up question, which I think is a really great question.
But as Joe Biden often talks about, it is not just important the example of power, but the power of our example. Was that a good example for people who are watching who might not pay attention normally?
I love, by the way, that there's somebody in the media paying attention to Joe Biden and throwing his words back in his face, or in this case, in the face of Jen Psaki. So she answers this guy's question with the worst answer you could give as a spokesperson for the President of the United States.
We take a number of precautions, but I think we have bigger issues to worry about at this moment in time.
We have bigger issues? We do? What's bigger than the COVID crisis? What's the bigger issue? That's crazy. So here's the Joe Biden White House on one day saying, the COVID-19 crisis is so huge, it's so astronomical, it's so difficult, it's so deadly, it's so important to America that I am mandating that you must wear a mask when you're on federal property at all times, celebration or no celebration, masks required on federal land. Then he goes out to federal land without a mask, and the press secretary says, look, we've got bigger issues to deal with in this country. No, you don't. That's not according to your boss.